Welcome to my presentation, Building a Brand to Attract Employers. The philosophy behind it is very simple. It is better to be hunted than the hunter. In other words, it's better to have employers running after you than for you to run after them. But the only way for them to run after you is for them to know about you, and that requires that you build a brand. And your brand is your reputation. And while you want to create a positive reputation, if you can't back it up, instead of having a positive reputation, you're going to have a negative one. Just as a company that wants to be known for having quality merchandise, if they sell garbage, then it doesn't matter how much money they've paid to have a consultant build a reputation for them. The bottom line is their reputation is garbage. Things can go wrong or right, depending on how you handle it and how you look at it. But there can be a situation where you are going to be attacked. And if that happens, you will only survive if you have a strong enough positive reputation to overcome any short-term negativity. As you're going to learn, that's what happened to me. And it happened as a result of an article that I wrote, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it in a few minutes. It was called When Interviewing for a Job, Lose the Ring. A lawyer wrote on her website, and here I'm quoting from his bio, he's clearly a well-respected leader in his field. Well, I wrote the bio. But it obviously impressed her enough that she thought that my opinion was worth commenting on. And what did she read? What was my bio? Well, now it's Bruce is a recognized authority on job search and career issues, having been quoted in over 700 articles, appearing in some 500 publications across the United States and in more than 30 foreign countries. But at the time, it wasn't 700 articles. If I remember correctly, it was around 600 articles. It was only about 450 publications in 23 foreign countries, as well as the United States. But that was impressive enough. And she decided to write a blog piece based, at least in part, on my article. Now, before we go any further, I want you to be aware of some unethical practices that, as a job seeker, you may be enticed to use, and you don't want to do that. I'm trying to choose my words carefully. What one company does is tell you that if you pay them, they will get you mentioned on the websites of the major television networks, and then you can use this as seen on ribbon, as though there's some government authority that grants you permission to do this. Well, you're not on CBS, Fox, NBC, and ABC. You're only mentioned on their website on some press release called toprecommendedprofessional.com. For some reason, the broadcast media, I guess they need material for their websites, and they publish this press release. And you're mentioned on it, and then the company says you can now claim to have been on the networks. Well, no, you weren't on the networks. I've been quoted in articles on the websites of different television stations. There's a big difference between that and being in a TV studio. Believe me, I've been interviewed on Fox Business, on Headline News, which is CNN, even via Skype on the local New York Fox affiliate. It's a lot different than just having a quote on a website. Moreover, as you can see from this, LinkedIn doesn't want you using it because you may be violating the company's trademarks, and if you do that, your account on LinkedIn may be subject to restrictions. So don't do this. Now, there's another little thing that some companies will try to entice you to do. It may even be the same company. That's to include this nonsense in the summary of your profile, and they'll claim that this will attract recruiters, HR managers, the rest to you. It's not. It's not going to have any impact at all, except as a warning that once you see this, you know this is coming. And what is this all about? These are people who are unemployed. And they've been underemployed for a while, and they don't want it to appear that they're unemployed. So they put down they're the founder of something. And it's, in this case, mechanical design engineering leadership, as though that's the name of a company or a non-profit. But what it is that the person has set up a group on LinkedIn. Anybody can set up a group on LinkedIn. So fine, they set up a group. I mean, look at the job description. You got to laugh. The problem is that if I, as a recruiter, see this, I'm going to say, what is this about? And they're going to say, oh, I set up a group on LinkedIn. How many members of the group are there? Well, how many discussions have taken place? Well, it's nothing. And if it's on the resume, it could be considered a lie. It will definitely be considered deception. Nobody's going to want to hire you. And I wrote about these things. And the result was over 7,600 people have read it. 84 liked it. 25 commented on it. Almost all positive. 19 shared it. But I also received messages. One person wrote to me, and since it was a private message, I don't share the person's name, but she said she fell for it. And she was appreciative, and after reading the article, what did she write? I want to be recognized for my integrity and not for fooling others into believing something that I am not. She got rid of all of it. Mr. Seeger got rid of all of it. This person wrote to me, really to thank me. Thank me. What did she write in the second paragraph? I fell for an expert pitch. Don't fall for the expert pitches. These guys speak much better than I do, but they're not ethical. And you want to have a positive reputation so that you have a positive brand. Everything that I'm going to tell you to do, every service that I'm going to tell you to use is free. So don't worry about spending money. You don't have to buy any premium packages. This is all free. And it's a new world. Newspapers, magazines, I'll show you how to get into them. Radio and TV, I'll show you how to get into them. But you're going to be using websites, your own website. If you have one, if not, you can use your LinkedIn profile, blogs, social media platforms, of which there are countless. The most important is LinkedIn. So we're going to look at a website, mine, LinkedIn, and a few other social media platforms that you can use to build a professional reputation, your professional brand. Now, if you are in financial services and have a compliance officer, before you do anything, get permission. That's all I'm saying on that. Now, if you're going to go public, you need thick skin because you're going to be criticized. It comes with the territory. You shouldn't respond. I'm guilty of responding to critics. I always regret doing it. It's tough, but just accept it and move on. Remember, they're responding to you. You're the one who's making the impact. They're not. Now, if somebody says something that is slanderous, if somebody honestly misunderstood you, you can correct them. But don't get into a fight with them. Most people believe that what they do is very important. They have a message to share with the world. You do not. I'm sorry. I can't do that. You can't do that. This is not about being proactive with the media. Reporters, producers, editors, they get pitches every day. Hundreds of them. They all get thrown away. There's no time. You need to be reactive, and I'm going to show you how to be reactive, because your audience for building your brand is not employers or employees of companies that are hiring or may be hiring. Your audience are the reporters, the editors, the producers, the publisher, the owner. Those are the people you want to impress. They're the ones whose needs you need to meet. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Being reactive is being effective. And once you have success, once you've been quoted in the newspaper or on the website, you want to make sure everybody knows about it. Because if you're the best kept secret in town, you've got zero credibility because nobody knows about you. You can't be shy. You don't want to wind up in the PR graveyard. So what do? Well, my website is my credibility. And now, as a result of this post that I wrote, I was interviewed on Fox Business Channel. And there's the picture of me in the studio. And if you click on it, you go to a video of the interview. This gives me credibility. Fox does not have people on who don't know what they're talking about. I wrote something of interest, and they wanted to have me on. I think I did a good job. You can disagree. That's fine. But the fact of the matter is that I gained a lot of credibility by the fact that I was on Fox. I was also on Headline News. I was on the local Fox station. And again, I was mentioned or quoted on Good Morning America. That lends credibility. Fox, of course, gives the most. Also on my website, I have what this woman, Natalie, called my page with career resources. And she complimented me on it. What is this? This is a page, and I had it divided into sections for obvious reasons. That links to podcasts, my LinkedIn articles, YouTube videos, my blog postings, other videos, my books. I have 2 podcasts. One's not mine. One is the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce weekly podcast, which I host. Then I have my own podcast, Bruce Hurwitz Presents. And underneath the player, which is what you see in the bottom half of the screen, are selected articles. Of course, I'm quoted in all of them. I don't say that blatantly. I'm just there. And it's divided into sections: job search, cover letters, resume, interviewing, career change, what have you. Having all of these resources, which are free, gives me credibility. Which brings us to LinkedIn. If you are a professional and you are not on LinkedIn, you have a problem. You have a major problem. You have to be on LinkedIn. The $26.2 billion is what Microsoft paid for LinkedIn. The site has 430 million members. They're in 200 countries. Of course you have to be on LinkedIn. There's nothing to discuss. Your profile photo is very important. but it's not necessarily what you think. This woman, Nikki, did a very good experiment. On the right, she has what she calls the pretty pic. On the left, the ugly talking pic. She got 900 visits a month to her profile using the photo on the right, and only 500 using the photo on the left. But the fact of the matter is that the one on the left may have been 400 less visitors than the one on the right, but they were substantial. They were concrete. They resulted in tangible discussions, business. So keep that in mind. It's not the number of views that matter, and people will tell you that they will, if you pay them, they will get you views. It means nothing. The only thing that matters is the number of concrete, real, substantial interactions, not the number of people who want to see as much as they, or learn as much as they can from the profile of the pretty girl. Now, how do you get found? Where you live and your industry. That's what's key. Also, the promotional line, and we'll talk about the promotional line in a second. But for right now, where you live and your industry. For example, if I am looking for an accountant, let's say in Greater Philadelphia, I will do a search, Greater Philadelphia area, accounting industry. I'm not going to look at anybody's LinkedIn profile. Who has the time? What do I care what's written on the profile? All I care about is that you're in Philadelphia and in the accounting business. I'm going to send you a message through LinkedIn. I'm going to ask you if you're interested. I'm going to tell you that I've got a job. I'm going to share the job description. If you're interested, you'll send me your resume. If you're not interested, but you know of someone who might be interested, then I'm asking you to share the job description with them. That's how I get candidates for my clients. I don't read the resume, their profile. I care about resumes, not profiles. Now, that professional line needs to be informative. And you have to highlight your unique selling proposition. On mine, you may have noticed I work with veterans. I work with everyone, but I promote the hiring of veterans. Here, Mr. Teets put down open to new opportunities. That's very important for you to do if you're a job seeker, but not if you're a job seeker who's currently employed and doesn't want his boss knowing that he's looking for a job. So if you need confidentiality, do not put down open to new opportunities. But as Kimberly did, if there's something unique about what you do, put it down. That will get the attention of employers when they do a search or when they are accepting invitations, when you invite them to join your network. If they see that you can build a website, host it, manage it, and market it, and care for the entire web presence and save you time and money, they're going to click on. They'll accept you. Just as a recruiter will accept anyone who's open to new opportunities. Now, after the top of your resume, of your profile, I'll go back and show it to you. In my case, I went too far, sorry. This is the top. If I'm not doing a video now on writing a LinkedIn profile, so you don't see anything, but beneath this would be my contact information. And then, because I have posts on LinkedIn, articles on LinkedIn, this section appears. So anybody looking at my profile immediately knows that I have 30,900, now more than that, followers. And that seems to impress people. Next comes background, where there's a summary, and here you've got a link to my Fox Business Network interview, and also a link to a podcast that I did, a video podcast I did on cultural fit for companies. In other words, my LinkedIn profile, just like my website, is multimedia. Now, a lot of people ask me about keywords. What keywords should appear on a profile? No one can answer that question for you. It's ridiculous. You know your profession. If you write a full, complete, honest profile of your work, every keyword that should be there will be there. If you're just putting in the dictionary and there's no substance to it, if you're in IT and you say you know a particular language and you don't, you're going to get caught in the lie. So just tell the truth. Don't worry about the keywords. Worry about explaining everything that you do. And then the keywords will be there. Under experience, you put in a summary of what you've done at whatever the company is, but you can also make it multimedia. On the left at the bottom is a podcast. On the right at the bottom is a video, or links to a podcast and links to a video. The key to LinkedIn, of course, is your network. You have to be connected to people. There are two schools of thought. Accept from everyone or be very particular. My advice is accept from everyone, because you never know who you're rejecting. Nobody's going to say you're a terrible person because you're connected to this guy or gal. It's not going to happen. Don't worry about it. When you reject somebody, you are also rejecting their connections, and you may one day need their connections. So think carefully before you reject someone. And every connection is automatically a follower. But not all followers are connections. That's why I have 30,900 plus followers, but only 30,000 first-degree connections. The way you can get connections is by joining these groups called LION, which stands for LinkedIn Open Networkers. These are people who want to have 30,000 first-degree connections on LinkedIn. They should accept an invitation from you even though they don't know you. Toplink.com is a great website. They will send you every week of the emails of over 1,000 people, actually closer to 2,000 people, who have indicated that they are willing to accept invitations from anyone. That's how you can quickly get over the 500 first-degree connections hump, which is important because it says something when when a recruiter sees that somebody only has less than 500 first-degree connections. May not be fair, it may not be logical, but you want to have more than 500. This is a quick and easy way to get them. And the limit, as you can see here, this is a message I received from LinkedIn, is 30,000. There are those people who will tell you that you cannot send more than a certain number of invitations in a day. It's not true. As you can see here, I've sent out thousands in a day. And the way I do that, or the way I did it, was by going to groups and just inviting all the members to join my network. Or by doing an advanced search in a certain industry. Now let's get back to this question of, do you invite people who you don't know, and do you accept invitations for people you don't know? Well, if everybody in your LinkedIn network is someone you know, then what do you need LinkedIn for? That's number one. Number two, I don't remember if I invited this person or if they invited me. It doesn't matter. A reporter for the Long Island Business News contacted me. She had read my profile, if you remember the professional line where I indicate that I promote the hiring of veterans, and she wanted a quote from me regarding Red Mango, which is a franchise of yogurt stores, restaurants. And I provided it. And I got quoted. And none of that would have happened if we were not first-degree connections on LinkedIn. If you go to your LinkedIn homepage, you're going to see there are 3 activities you can do. You can share an update, you can upload a photo, you can write an article. So let's look at each. An update. You write what's on your mind, in other words, what you want to tell the world about, and you can share it with only your connections, with the public, or with the public and Twitter. And that's what I do. Everything I do, I want the highest number of people to see so that the greatest number of people know what I'm doing. That's how I build my brand. I do not say, I was just quoted in recruiter.com because that sounds obnoxious. What did I write? Not getting interviews? Learn what you may be doing wrong. That's the message. Then I include the URL. And when the URL appears, then beneath the block, you get the connection to the blog site, the newspaper, whatever. You want to share things where you're quoted, but you also want to share other people's content because you want to be recognized as a source for professional information. That's what's important. Now, if you remember Red Mango, when I wrote about Red Mango, I included the name Red Mango in my update. Red Mango has an account on LinkedIn. So the minute I started to type Red Mango, a drop-down menu appeared. I clicked on the name of the company, got the hyperlink, so they know that I wrote something positive about them on LinkedIn, and they may have found out, if they didn't already know, about the article on the Long Island Business News, or in the Long Island Business News. Who knows? Maybe one day they'll be looking for a recruiter, they'll remember me, and they'll come to me. But that's why I do it. When I had a career counseling special, I posted it as an update. 649 people saw it. I had a question. I had a situation I never had before. A client wasn't paying me. Didn't know what to do, so I asked about it. I asked for advice from my LinkedIn connections. 809 people read it. 8 commented. I got good advice. Luckily, I didn't need to use the advice. This nice lady sent out an update about an article that I wrote, the most important part of a LinkedIn profile for an employer or recruiter. The minute she wrote that update, because we're connected, it appeared in my feed. It also appeared on her feed. And as you're going to see, this article went viral. Now next, photos. Uploading a photo. You click upload a photo, you get this box, you've all seen it, you find the photo, you upload it. People are fed up with LinkedIn, and this woman is fed up with LinkedIn becoming a dating site. It's aggravating. What you need to realize is that 2060, if I'm seeing the number correctly, people commented on this. Over 7,200 liked it. You post a photo, you're going to get responses. Now here's a positive photo. This is the way you should do things on LinkedIn. WeWork opened up a new shared office space. They posted a photo of their new location with a link to their website. That's how it's supposed to be done. This gentleman did something interesting. I like it. He would build drilling rigs, but business got bad, so he started his own business where he builds burning stoves and custom fire pits. They look nice. He lists the prices, his phone number. It's the most blatant selling I've ever seen on LinkedIn. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Just wanted to share it. This is the one that is very interesting. Guy goes into a bank. He sees the employee's shoes and he takes a photo of it. 1,199 people commented on it. 242 people said they liked his comments about the guy's shoes. This is absolutely amazing. A silly picture of some guy's shoes, and over 1,000 people, almost 1,200, take the time to comment. This one's great. This person thought these were assault rifle bullets. When I'm giving this presentation, I stand out of the way and just wait. And somebody says, wait a minute, those aren't bullets. They're screwdriver bits. People will post anything on LinkedIn. The interesting thing is, excuse me, the interesting thing is that this was taken down in a very short period of time. Why? Because it's nonsense. But somebody uploaded it to another website, and when I went looking for it again for this presentation and couldn't find it, I Googled it and I found it on that website. So just remember, whatever you do on the internet stays on the internet. It's very rare that you can actually get rid of something. This is just a cute picture. Little boy who lives outside of Fort Hood saw soldiers stopping when he heard reveille. And they would stop and they would salute the flag. They'd turn and face the fort and salute the flag, even if they couldn't see it. So he asked them what they were doing, and he explained it to them. So next time he heard reveille, he stopped and he saluted. But what's sweet about the photo is that he's looking at his shadow. He's not looking at the flag. And I just liked it. I thought it was a sweet picture, and I liked it. And within a matter of a minute or so, 2 people liked my like, or liked my comment on the photo. This is all about building a brand. It doesn't always have to be purely professional. It can be something of a human nature story. It goes to who you are as a person. Of course, the most important is writing articles. When you write an article, you click on Write an Article. This is what comes up. In the blue box at the top, you can add a picture if you want. It's not necessary. I don't always do it. You put in a headline, you write the article. At the end, have a blurb about yourself. Then click Publish, and this box appears. And now is your opportunity to index it, by which I mean you put in a hashtag with a comment. So if I was doing a blog post about this PowerPoint presentation, it would be hashtag brand, hashtag branding, hashtag job search. And then you click Publish. And then you can go to Twitter. Now this is just nonsense that I wrote. It's not a real post. You click on Share on Twitter, Share on Facebook. I share on Twitter. The title of the article appears. the URL appears, and then you add tip at LinkedIn Pulse. Why? LinkedIn Pulse is the division of LinkedIn that's responsible for these posts, and they decide which ones get pushed to the top of the line, so to speak, get included in various industries. And the only way they can know that an article exists is if you tell them about it. So you include tip at LinkedIn Pulse, and they'll decide based on whatever criteria they use that your post belongs in an industry feed, which I'll show you right now. So I wrote this post, the one question to ask yourself if you think you should change careers, and it was put into careers, the next level, recruiting and hiring, and your career. So I got into 3 different industries, and in no time at all, I had over 14,000 reads, 650 likes, 63 comments, and it was shared 141 times. And once somebody shares an article, that goes out to everyone in their network, and then if somebody in that network shares it, goes out, and then it just builds exponentially from there. This is an article I wrote because I got fed up with the politics and the sex and the religion, all these inappropriate photos, updates, comments. So I wrote this article. The most important part of a LinkedIn profile for an employer or recruiter. It sort of went viral with over 3,000 views. And just to answer the question, the most important part of a LinkedIn profile is the View Recent Activity button, because that way, as a recruiter, I can see what you've been up to. And if I don't like it, I don't have to consider you for a candidate for one of my executive recruiting clients. But something happened that's interesting with this article. I was constantly sharing it. Every time somebody would do something political, I'd say, this is why I wrote this post. And that's why so many people read it. But this one person was very upset. He said, I agree with you 100%. But every time you comment on one of these articles, it appears on my feed, and then I've got to see it. So his solution was to drop me as a connection. I'm sorry you did that. I didn't lose any sleep over it. But if somebody is doing things on LinkedIn that you don't like, even if you agree with them, as in this case, you don't have to remove them as a connection. You can just stop following them, because you may need them as a connection in the future. I wrote what I consider to be a simple, straightforward post, what a Gmail account says about a business owner. And it refers to marketing and branding professionals, so-called, who have Gmail accounts. If you email me, you will type bh@hsstaffing.com. When you get a response from me, it will come from bh@hsstaffing.com. That's how I get my brand recognition, I should say. Brand recognition. Because my website is always in your face. That's the way it's supposed to work. So I write this, and if my email address was hsstaffing@gmail.com, I'd be losing out on that. So I wrote this, and in 2 hours, 435 people had seen it. After a day, it was 4,300, and I tweeted about it. And a day after that, it was over 9,000. That shows the importance of the tweet with tip at LinkedIn Pulse. It also shows that just about anything can go viral. But what goes viral? Here we've got what you should yell if you are being attacked, and what does this have to do with getting a job? So it's a little bit curious, but as you can see, LinkedIn Pulse put it into recruiting and hiring. The one question to ask yourself if you think you should change careers. We already saw this slide, but 1,300, almost 1,350 people saw it, and it was in 3 different industries. So I'll give you a couple seconds on each slide. Look at the names of these posts. They've all gone viral, and they've all gone viral, meaning over 1,000. Now, when interviewing for a job, lose the ring, that's 178,000. That's the biggie. And if I didn't explain it before, I'll explain it now very quickly. Over a period of 5-6 years, half a dozen or so women came to me. They couldn't figure out what they were doing wrong. They were getting interviews, but not getting job offers. They were articulate, professional. There was no reason in the world that I could see why they weren't getting job offers. But I noticed something about them. In each case, they had the Hope Diamond of engagement rings on. So I told them to lose the ring. They took the rings off. They got job offers. Now, an engagement ring is not a wedding ring. It's not a legally protected status. You don't take off your wedding ring. Engagement ring doesn't mean a thing. Sorry, it just doesn't. It's not a legal status. So here you had 3 articles. They all went viral, all dealing with the same nonsense. And what was the result? At the time, I had 30,000 and change for the number of followers. I think it was 30,060. Now I've got 900. I've got 800 more followers following this stupidity. And when I took this screenshot, I had 219 invitations waiting in my inbox. Now it's over 250. Didn't hurt me a bit. It helped me. It got me onto Fox. Believe me, I was not hurt at all. I had a hectic couple of weeks, but it didn't hurt me one bit. But look at the titles. Let's continue on. You've already seen the photos of the nice lady. Here again, you'll remember the Gmail account. Again, the most important part of a LinkedIn profile. All of these, at least 1,000 views. Few more. What's interesting is how to write an effective cover letter got over 1,200 views, but how to write an effective resume got less than 1,000. Now, the first post that I wrote was how to answer easy job interview questions, and the fact that it went viral, in other words, over 1,000, was an inspiration for me to continue to write. And that's what I hope happens with all of you. But based on the headings that you just read, my equation, which is neither scientific nor always correct, because not all of my articles go viral, is that if you mention a number, the 5 ways, the one thing, if it's a solution to a problem, how to answer, if there's self-interest, lose the ring, or if it's something curious, never say transferable skills. What would you say instead of that? If there's some curiosity, that seems to help things go viral. What also helps is if you have a connection who's well connected. And I don't know how this happened, but somebody saw the article that I wrote on the one question to ask yourself if you think you should change careers. And it got quoted in PS News, which is an Australian website. This I just found out a couple days ago. There's this site called Work It Daily, and they've reproduced a number of my blogs on LinkedIn. So you get connections You never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to pick it up, but it all helps. And if somebody comments on it, as in the top screenshot, then it will appear in your news feed and in their news feed and in the news feeds of all of their connections. If LinkedIn Pulse likes it, then stories you can't miss today on LinkedIn. That'll get you viral. People send out tweets about you with links to the article. That raises readership. Somebody likes it. That gets put into their feed. If it's shared, if it's commented upon, all of this helps to get things to go viral. And if you can, not if you can, what you should do is go to your groups and where relevant, post it as a discussion. So the heading of the discussion was, how will you respond when asked, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And then a link to the article. And if you wait a few seconds, the article then appears underneath, so you know it took. And now people in that group will know about the article. They'll read it. Maybe they'll share it. Maybe they'll comment on it. You want to make certain that your posts are visible to the public. So what do? You go up to your photo, you put the cursor on your photo, and you'll get the drop-down menu. You click on Manage Privacy and Settings. Then you go to under Privacy and edit your public profile. You click Change. And just make sure that the circle next to Make My Public Profile Visible to Everyone has been checked, and the box next to Posts and Activities have been checked. Now you can go into groups. The most important group for me is the Job Seeker Premium group. And you can comment on articles, comment on other discussions. People will comment on your comments. In this case, this gentleman agreed with me. Other people have disagreed. Nothing wrong with that. As long as it's professional, it's all good. So you augment your brand by interacting with others, with their articles, their updates, their photos, and in group discussions. Now, I include this because it's just an amazing photo of something very, very long. It's a tower of some kind that's being transported, and the company that posted this is the company that's responsible for transporting it. And your guess is as good as mine. But I commented that it seems to be kind of inconsiderate. Why didn't they build it in sections and then just transport it to wherever they needed to be built and put it together there, assemble it on site? Because all of these cars that you see, these are all people who are going to be inconvenienced for hours because of this. And there were people who agreed with me, there were people who disagreed with me, but I just felt it was something I wanted to comment on. I've commented on updates. This woman, who's an influencer on LinkedIn, says that you can evaluate a recruiter in 30 seconds. I said you can evaluate a recruiter in 6 seconds. Just by knowing if they're polite. Do they ask, is now a good time to speak with you? If they don't, then they're not very professional. It only takes 5-6 seconds. And you can comment on somebody's article. This woman wrote an article on cheap recruiters, as though cost has anything to do with quality. So I took exception to that, and within no time at all, 2 people had already liked my comment. Again, this is all building a brand, and there will be people who will disagree with you. There are people who disagree in a professional way, and there are people who disagree with you unprofessionally. you can guess which ones you should respond to. But again, never get into a fight. On your articles, people will respond to you. They'll write comments. Everything adds to the brand. And what are the results? Well, following the brouhaha over the article on engagement rings, I made it not just to the top 1%, I'm always the top 1%, of my network. Not your network, my connections. I made it all the way up to number 7. Didn't mean I got more business, it just meant I got more views. And I'm always number 1 amongst the professionals in my network. That doesn't mean anything to me. What I care about is the number of followers. Because everyone over 30,000 means this is somebody who really wants to read what I have to write. They're interested in what I have to say. When someone sends me a message on LinkedIn, or when someone invites me to join their network and I'm able to do it, if I see that they are open to new opportunities, I will send them a message, because a message on LinkedIn has a much better chance of being read than an email. So I'll send them a message, I'll tell them about my company, but what I'm doing is I'm responding to information they've provided. So on their profile, they say they're open to new opportunities. So I wrote, I noticed that you are looking for new opportunities. First, though, I thank them for inviting me to join their network. Then I mentioned career counseling. Then I mentioned my library, and that they can use it for free. But many people, their first interaction, their first message is purely business that I have no interest in. They just figure that because I accepted their invitation, that I'm interested in their business. Well, I'm not. Unless I tell you I'm interested, unless you saw something on my profile, don't send me an email that you read my profile and you found it to be fascinating and you're sure there's a synergy between our two companies. Because I know that's what you send to everybody, so it's meaningless. Make sure when you message someone, it's because there's something real that you can do for them and that you already know they're interested in. I have a personal blog. It's called Employment Edification. It's through, through WordPress. And what I like about it is 2 things. One, I can't sign anybody up for it, so no one can accuse me of spamming them. So these 3,600 people all signed up for it. They all get it. Every time I publish something on my blog, they receive an email. They don't have to go to the blog to read it. They can read it from their email account. And it's linked to all my social media. So it's a way for people on LinkedIn to know what I'm doing. I do not publish job alerts on LinkedIn, only on my personal blog. So this will appear as an update on my LinkedIn account. I will publish articles on my blog that I've already written on LinkedIn. That I will do. Is it worth it? Well, on November 29th of this year, 2016, someone commented on a post that I had written called CEO Compensation, a Bronx Tale. I wrote the post over 5 years ago. Posts matter. Blogs matter. Blog articles matter. They will be read. If not today, if not tomorrow, maybe next year, maybe in 5 years. This is proof of it. you can have an impact. Now, help a reporter. Help a reporter is how I got those 700 media citations. You sign up as a source. Every day you will receive 3 batches of emails, morning, afternoon, and evening, with literally hundreds of questions from reporters on every conceivable topic. If you're having difficulty thinking of things to write about, you may get an idea from reading the questions. What you should do is when you respond, first establish your credentials. So I say, by way of introduction, I'm an executive recruiter and career counselor. The mission of my company is to promote the hiring of veterans. And then I answer the question. I don't pitch to them. If I think there's a more important subject, I don't tell them that. I want them to quote me. I want my name to appear in their article, so I'm providing them the information that they want. I don't pitch to them. I'm also the first to respond because when I was looking for people to be on my podcast, I used Haro. And I would get scores, if not hundreds, of responses. So I know that these guys get hundreds of responses. They're inundated. As soon as they have enough, they stop. So I want to be one of the first. You need to be one of the first. Here's someone who contacted me for her website. And she wanted me to host a webinar. Why? She saw an article in which I was quoted a year and 3 months earlier. So that's why she invited me to host a webinar for her company. Here's a blog called Cheat Sheet. They quoted me twice in 1 year. They used the same quote. This person reached out to me with their resume, a veteran, said that he had seen me quoted on or found me through an article in Forbes. Well, I've been quoted in Forbes twice, on July 28th and 29th of 2014. That was almost 2 years before this gentleman, this veteran, contacted me. Just tells you about the power of being quoted. It may not result in anything today, but it could in 2 years' time. Which brings me to the question, what's better, to be quoted in the Wall Street Journal or on websites, blogs that you've never heard of before? And the truth of the matter is, I've been quoted in the Wall Street Journal. I've been quoted on U.S. News and World Report, USA Today, CNN's website, hundreds. Big guys and small guys. I've gotten more responses, more business from the cheat sheets and the get VoIPs than from the Wall Street Journals. So just because it's a publication you've never heard of, don't ignore it. It may be the key to your future success. That may be the one that the employer is going to read. Always say thank you. When you see an article has been published, Google yourself, because reporters do not usually inform you when their articles have been published. When you find it, say thank you, promote the article, send it out to your social media sites. I do that all the time, and reporters now call me directly. Sending out a notice to all of your social media sites can take time. So that's why I use Hootsuite, because I can send out a message, a tweet on Twitter, a message on Facebook, a notice on Google+, an update on LinkedIn, all at the same time. And I can schedule them using Hootsuite. I believe it's 45 days in advance. One message goes out to all 5. This is what it looks like. So in this case, it's an article. Looking to change careers? If these 5 could do it, why can't you? And yes, I can help. I then, in that box that says add a link, I put in the URL. What you don't see is to the right of that box will be a button that says shrink. You click on that, and then that HTTP with the gobbledygook after it appears, and you can see the article with the photo if there is one, so you know that it took. And then you just send it, or you schedule it for later, and it goes out to all of your social media, and the free account allows you to connect to 5 different social media platforms. Facebook, by all means use Facebook, but there is a problem with Facebook. If you're looking for a job, an employer is perfectly entitled to go online to see what you do. And your Facebook account can hurt you. Make your Facebook private. Facebook isn't professional, it's personal. Make it private. That way there, you've got nothing to worry about. If you've got an idiotic friend and you don't realize that you've got a picture of him acting moronically, or frankly, if you're acting in a non-professional way, you don't want an employer to see that. So the best thing to do is just make it private. Share with your friends, not with the world. YouTube gets screen recording software. That's what I'm using right now. No one needs to see you. They need to see what you're talking about. I don't want you looking at me. I want you looking at the screen. It's a lot easier to use. You don't have to worry about lighting. Get screen recording software, and most of them give you a 30-day free trial. So try it out first, make sure you like it, make sure you can use it, make sure you're comfortable, and then purchase. Now we have Blog Talk Radio. This is for podcasts. If you are a complete and total technological moron, it will take you 60 seconds to learn how to use Blog Talk Radio. They will offer you the chance to be a host. Anybody can be a host. You want to host your own podcast? Great. You could go out and you could invite employers to come on your show and interview them. But I doubt that's going to happen. What you should do is to contact, once you set up an account, contact the hosts of programs in your industry. Do a search of keywords for your industry. If you're in marketing, do marketing. If you're in tech, do tech. And then find shows that are real. You'll be able to tell, do they do one once a year or once a week? Listen to a few to see if you like the host style and if they're not a jerk. And then introduce yourself. Tell them a little bit about yourself and say if they're ever looking for a guest, you'd be more than happy to help them out. It's all over the phone. You don't have to go to any studio, so it's not a big deal. And once the recording is over, you can post it on your LinkedIn profile, on your website, and list it on your resume, as you can do with all of the media citations. So you can put on your resume that you are a recognized authority in your field, and as proof, have the interviews, have the citations. This is what it looks like. This is a gentleman who I interviewed, a veteran, who has his own nonprofit that helps veterans. This is what the player looks like. And if you are interviewed and you so choose, the host can provide you, and you can also get yourself, the code to put the player on your website. So this lady who I interviewed for the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce put the player on her website. so people could listen to the show directly from her website and don't have to go through Blog Talk Radio. Bottom line, everything I've told you over the last hour or so has resulted in 40% of all of the interactions on my website. This system works. Remember Will Rogers. He was a very intelligent man. Thank you very much. I hope you have found this video helpful, and I hope that you will reach out if I can ever be of assistance to you. Thank you for watching.